All right, so now we have done most of the steps we want to do here. We've created a Redux store, and then we've created a reducer, which is then passed as an argument into that store. Then we've dispatched an action right here, and this action is going into the reducer, and the reducer is taking that action and then updating the state in the store. Now, the only thing left to do is react to the changes in the store. So normally what we do is, you do that in a component in React, but now we don't have any components here, and we'll just do a simple console log whenever we get a change. It will just be slightly different when we work with components, but the basic idea behind it is the same. So we want to listen for changes to the Redux store and then react to those changes. So why don't we set up those subscriptions? All right, so right here underneath the store, I'm going to say store.subscribe, and this is a function, and it'll take function as a parameter. And this function is going to fire whenever the state is changed. So every time that happens, let's say down here, console.log state updated, and then underneath, let's do another console log, and then this time we'll log out the state. But how do we access the state? We can't just say state because that's the thing that's just passed in here. And if we say initial state, then we're just going to grab this thing right here, but we want the current state of the store, which has been updated. So we can actually get that by saying store.getState, and this is a function, and that's going to get the state for us, and we're going to be able to log that in the console. Okay, so let's save this and run it and see the result in console. Okay, so now we get that state, which is to-dos learn Redux. All right, so this is working as we intended. So let's quickly have a look at what we actually did here. We've dispatched this action into the store right here, and like this, and then it's passed into the reducer, and inside the reducer, we've updated the state. Then we've returned back a new state object, and then we subscribe to the store because the state has changed. Then it fires this function over here, and it's logging this message and then the state underneath of it. Okay, so now we've got a problem in the state over here. The state is an object with just one property, right? To-dos. But we have two properties, to-dos and posts. Even though this one is still empty, it still should be here. So the problem lies in here, inside the reducer. When we return an object, this is the new state object that we're returning right here. We've overridden the old one, and we said that here we no longer want posts here, right? So there's the actual problem. We changed the to-dos and removed the posts inside the state. So when we want to change a particular element inside the store, we shouldn't touch the rest. When we're setting the state in a React component, we only need to pass through the thing that we update, and then it doesn't touch the rest. So in this case, what we need to do is pass the stuff inside the state even though we don't want to change it. So we could say posts is an empty array, and then to-dos will be updated as well. We could do that, but what if we have many properties, many different properties that need to go on in here? Can't write them all for each individual check. So instead, what we can do is use the spread operator of the state, which is going to grab everything in the current state. So both of these things, and it's going to spread them in here. And then after that, it's going to take the to-dos and override that. So we might be doing a to-do twice here, but the second one is the one that counts. You see that, right? The last one in the chain is the one that overrides the first one. So that way, we're updating the state. We're still placing the posts in the state object, and we're also overriding the to-dos. Okay, so let's go ahead and save all this, and let's see the result. All right, so we get it right here. So let's go and dispatch other actions. So I'm going to go down in here and take this action and paste it inside the store. And then right underneath of it, I'm going to say store.dispatch and set an object inside of here. And then I will say type is add to do, and the payload is learn React. So 2 actions stored in dispatch, and then I'm passing the action directly into the dispatch right here. So the first one's type is add to do, and the second one is add to do again, and I'll do a third one. So I'll just copy this, and then this time it's going to be add posts, and payload, well, it's going to be play football, okay? So now what we need to do is check these actions inside the reducer and apply it to the state. So I'm just going to copy this thing and paste it down below here. And then I'm going to say if action type is add post, then we want to do the same thing with add to do. And we want to return an object which takes the current state, but this time we want to update the posts. So to do that, again, we want to use the spread operator on the current posts inside the state, and then also get the post data by saying action payload again. Okay, so let's save this, and let's see the result in the console. So I'm going to clear the console right here, save it, and we'll see if it works. Okay, so we get a few console logs out there. The first one we've added to do in state, and the second one we've added a new to do, and the third one we've added a post. Whoa, so my friends, that's the basics of Redux. All right, so good job. Now let's go to the diagram, and we'll quickly go over it again. So we dispatch an action to change this state, and that is passed into the reducer. The reducer takes that action and checks, what type of action is it? Then it updates the state according to whatever that data that was passed. Then we can subscribe to the Redux store and react to that in component, but in our case, we're just logging something to the console. But when we come back and when we start to really work with React and Redux, we're going to attach that data to the props of components. Don't worry, it'll get more complex. But anyway, that way we can use them inside our component. So let's pause right here and we'll come back in the next video. I'll see you then.